This podcast is powered by The Plug.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you or your company are looking to jump into the podcast world, now is the time. The Plug Agency is here to connect you to the full power of podcasting. You just record and leave the rest to us. The people are listening and want to hear from you. Theplug-agency.com. That's theplug-agency.com. Click the link in the episode description for an exclusive offer.
It's about you. It's about me. It's about us.
It's about you. It's about me. It's about us. Let's live our lives on purpose. You can talk to her. You can tell her what's wrong. She'll encourage you, yeah. She'll help you be strong. 'Cause you're her brother, you're her sister. Tell you always got your back. You ain't gotta worry about that. 'Cause it's all about you. It's about you, oh yeah. It's about me. It's about us. Let's live our lives on purpose.
It's about you. It's about me. And yes, it's about us. Welcome to Living Life on Purpose with Tonya. Enjoy, 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 enjoy. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Wherever this program finds you, we're hoping that you're in good health and good spirits and ready to enter into a conversation with Tonya. It's about us living our lives on purpose with Tonya. So excited to be before you again, talking about building that bridge, rebuilding that bridge, and looking at the gap that's between generations, and particularly the older generation, if you will, and this Gen X, this Gen Y, this Gen Z, and even the millennials. We talked about on last week, did we feel like that group was teachable? And we heard from one of my co-hosts, Amandre Face Evans and Dominique Evans, and they thought that some are, but a lot of times not so much. And they talked about why. They're not in studio this week, but we're going to keep it moving. We got a lot done last week, and it was just eye-opening to hear what the young people have to say. And we as the elders need to sit back and really listen to what they have to say, because they have something to say. I've learned so much, and I'm learning so much from that population. So we're just going to continue the conversation about that gap and see just what we can do to rectify that. And know that Dominique will be starting a group, and particularly for males that have been athletes, that's been in school and just doing their thing, and then they find themselves not playing anymore. And we are going to create, or he's going to create, a safe space in which young men can come and just talk and just, encourage one another. And I'm really looking forward to that. I told him that I am just so proud of the fact that, he brought that forth about depression, about just feeling kind of out of space and out of sorts and having nowhere to put that. And so he's going to create a space for that particular population. So I'm going to get started. I just want to, again, say hello and welcome. And I'm going to have a number. I'm going to put a number out. So if anyone has any questions, concerns, have something that they'd like to discuss in regards to the topic, or if you hear something that you just don't understand, you can call in. Or if you have some ideas about what we should be talking about or what you would like to talk about, because it is about us and coming together and creating safe spaces for us to just come and just chat. So Julius is my guy here, and because he is in studio, I just want to ask a question, Julius, if I can. What are your thoughts around bridging that gap, or what are your thoughts about the gap? Do you feel like, honestly, that there's a gap between my age group and your age group?
Absolutely. I think, speaking back to what Dom said on the last episode, the big thing that I know is social media. It's a monster. It definitely changed everything in every way. And, y'all grew up without that. And I grew up without that to a degree. So I remember those times before social media. And everything was just different. The way you communicate with people, the way you talk to people, relationships. I mean, I have relationship problems with my significant other sometimes over social media. And it's, it can create a barrier between things that never existed before. And, with you guys not being so involved into that, it's an obvious barrier where we look at things, kind of how Dom was saying, we look at things through that lens of social media. You're looking for the girl who's like the Instagram model. You're looking for the guy who's like the Instagram influencer, that whole thing. And it really just it separates us.
Wow. That is so crazy, because I'm thinking, again, like it's just so far-fetched. It's just like, are you serious? Like, I don't know. I know that reality TV is scripted. Y'all know that that's not a reality. But I get that if that's all that's in front of you, that's what one would have to go on. I think that what's really sad is that the socialization piece is almost just null and void anymore. It's almost like, I hate to text. And I sent a text the other day to someone, and the way they responded to me, I know that they perceived that text totally out of context. And I text them back and I said, this is why I hate to text. Nah, sis, I wasn't, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. No worries, no problems. This is whatever. But I knew that from the text, her just reading it, she took it out of context. And you can, because you're not there. You're not looking at them. So you don't know what their body language is. You don't know their tone. You don't know, you know what I'm saying, the cadence in their voice. You don't know if they're mad or, and it's just crazy. But this is why I hate to text. But a direct effect of that is that, like I said, she took it the wrong way, and then I had to text her back to fix it. Something that wasn't even broken in the beginning, but because we weren't face to face, she took it the wrong way. So yeah, it's crazy. Socialization is gone to hell in a handbasket.
It really has. I mean, yeah, you're saying something there with tone. I know that's an issue I've had too, with just, like you said, texting people. A lot of times I'm walking around happy, but if you say something to me and I respond to you a certain way, all of a sudden you perceive me as not being the happy-go-lucky person that I am. And it's just a couple words. Like, those words don't define my attitude right now. But you don't get that. If I walk into the room and I have an experience with you, it's totally different than if I just text you. But, it goes back to, like, thinking of relationships. When you used to talk to a young lady, normally, like when I was growing up, you talk on the phone for an hour or two. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, I strongly doubt that's the case. I think you probably just text, maybe FaceTime all day. Like, you know what I mean? It's everything about technology and social media just changed. And unless we, like you're kind of doing, breaking down these barriers and bridging that gap, they're going to stay that way. But the more we kind of come together, I feel like there could be a positive side of everything.
Mm-hmm. And just put those phones down and actually have some real FaceTime, some in-person, up close. And I know that the pandemic played a major role. And, I can't help to believe that, or not to believe that the social media gurus and the people that are benefiting most didn't take full advantage of the fact that, wow, okay, people can't meet, people can't be, in touch with each other. And so they just, ran the gamut on, Zooms and, like I said, all the things that we do to try and stay connected, which is really not connecting us at all.
Yeah, no, you nail on the head with that.
Yeah.
So what would be the first step to bridging that gap? Would it, like you said, is it just put the phones down? Or is it, because nowadays, like for me personally, it's hard to even stay in touch with my community or with my people without the phone.
Right.
And that's,
I think making a personal commitment one to another, to each other, making a personal commitment that we're going to sit down and we're going to have a meal together and we're going to put the phones down, or we're going to meet and go out and, I don't know, go to a movie, just whatever it is, just sit and put the phones down and really, like I said, just commune with each other. Without that distraction, it's not going to be easy. And that piece was definitely strategically planned by the powers that be. You know what I mean? To have you so addicted, so attached to that medium that you know, and we all do it. We leave our phones home and it's like, oh my God, like, I left my phone. But for me, I remember a time when you had to go to a payphone. You know what I mean? You couldn't it wasn't just, you can just be in the car, be wherever. So I don't know. I think, honestly, this is a start to bridging that gap. If we could just sit down and commune with one another to try and get some understanding and really listen to the needs of one another. I am so committed to listening to what the younger generations, like I said, X, Y, Z, and the millennials, what they have to say. Tell me what you need. I'm not going to tell you what you need. You tell me what you need, and then I'm going to try my best to facilitate that. The relationship piece just goes so much deeper, because if we're not in relationships with each other, what does that do for procreation? What does that do for growth? What does that do for sustainability? If we're not communing with each other, if we are not doing what's necessary to grow, you know what I'm saying, from generation to generation. And that is my main concern. It's like, wow, we're so disconnected, and even disconnected within. So the millennials are not even connected to the millennials. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah, true. That's
you
true.
know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's sad, but it's not sustainable with the way we're going. And like I said, I'm committed to not having that happen, because we've survived and we've done what no other race of people have done to survive what we've had to go through. And this is definitely a dilemma, you know what I'm saying, with our young men killing themselves. It's just, I don't know. So it's so much bigger than us, but I think, like I said, that the beginning would be just what we're doing right now on this podcast, reaching out to each other, talking to one another, listening to one another, and honoring and respecting where the other is.
Yeah. I think something else is kind of big to me is just getting engaged with the community. Mm-hmm. Like you're saying, put the phone down, and then once you put the phone down, talk to that person next to you. Have that conversation, speak to your elders, look them in the face when you talk to them, just kind of be present. But even when you're being present, trying to show up in your most engaged self, just excited to be alive and to be. Wow.
That's a skill that I think that has also been lost. Just to show up in your authentic self, show up and be present, and really understand what that means to be present. Because if you and I are sitting and we're having a conversation or we're having a meal, but we're on our phones, we're not present. We're not present. You know what I'm saying? We're giving our attention to something else.
Yeah.
And we're missing stuff. So if you're on your phone and I'm talking to you, you could be missing some really vital information, if you will. because you're not engaged. You know what I'm saying? You're on your phone, you're doing something else. So it needs to start with a commitment to actually do that. And it has to be a want, first of all, because if you don't want to engage with the person that you're sitting with, then therein lies a problem. And I think too that we have gotten so callous with the most valuable commodity on the planet Earth, and that is time. Time, you can't barter time, you can't borrow time, you can't buy time, you can't do any of it. You know what I'm saying? That 1 second, that 1 millisecond that just passed, you can't get it back. And I think that we squander. That is the most valuable commodity that we have, is time, and we squander it on the phone. How, God, really playing games. I have some of my girls all day long playing games and spending money on these games. And I'm like, what do you have to show for other than you don't have any money in your bank account because you're giving money to time? Time is the most valuable commodity that we squander because we just automatically think that it's going to be here. Yeah, well, life is but a vapor. It's like a mist of smoke. It's gone. And we just have to come back in line and understand and value the fact that time is our most valuable commodity. And we squander it by being on these phones and doing all the crap that we do on today. Even if it's, walking in unforgiveness or, you know what I'm saying? Just not learning, just not, just squandering it, just throwing it away. Like we can get it back.
Nah, you're saying something there. Time. That's all we get. That's the only thing you get, whether you're rich or poor.
That's right. Exactly. And I don't care how rich you are. Mm-hmm. You can't barter. You can't buy. You can't get the second that's gone. You cannot get it back. And I tell you, it's something when you really sit down and think about it. We just got to get together. We got to get it together. We got to come together because that's the only way that this thing is going to work. This thing that we call life is going to work to our advantage is if we come together and really start placing value on what's valuable to us. Because what's valuable to one man might not be valuable to another. Yeah. And so really start taking stock on what's valuable, what's valuable to you as an individual.
Something that you kind of said that resonated with me is that, you're listening to what the younger generation is asking for. Mm-hmm. So how do you feel, or I guess kind of give me your thoughts, when the younger generation is on their phones or on the social media all the time, how do you engage with them or help them or kind of just engage with them in their space, if that is their space?
They're going to have to allow me to do that because then I have to ask for permission to come into that space because they're engaged in what they're engaged in. They have their phones in front of them. They have whatever they're doing in front of them. And if they're not present, right, if they don't give me permission to be in that space, they're not going to get it anyway. They're going to miss it. You know what I'm saying? But wow. I think that they will come around because finally somebody is saying, what do you need? What do you want? What do you want from me? What can I do to assist you? I'm just listening. I'm listening without judgment. I'm listening without, in my head thinking, okay, this is how I'm going to fix this thing. No, I want to hear from you. And my wisdom, if you will lend an ear to what I have to say, then I think we can get some stuff done. I honestly think that because it's an order. And I know that we as a whole, I'm talking about in the world, are so out of order. We're so out of sorts. Mm. You know what I'm saying? It's like we're just all over the place. And I think as soon as we begin to put those things back in line, I think that things could possibly work out without feeling like I don't know. Like I said, you got women talking about, I don't need no man, and I da-da-da-da-da, and I can,
Yeah, I think, what did Dre say last episode? Women are too busy showing the men they can do everything a man can do, that they're not showing the man that they can do what a man can't do.
Yes, absolutely, which is so powerful. Yeah, we're just, I don't know, we're just all over the place. And there's an order, and it's okay to have order. You know what I'm saying? I think that people are trying to change the order or not be in, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. A society without laws is lawless, right? If we didn't have the law of gravity, we would be flying all over the place. So it's all good.
Some
you know what I'm
things just
saying?
is what it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's okay. You know what I'm saying? If you go to outer space and you're not tethered because they don't have the law of gravity is not in effect. You know what I'm saying?
That's no way to live.
Exactly, because we would be flying all over the place. It would be total chaos. And so order is not a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? I guess it's a matter of perspective, but I don't know. It's just, I don't know. Like I said, I'm just ready to build. I'm ready to communicate. I'm ready to live life on purpose. I'm ready to be happy and literally live life on purpose. With purpose, for purpose, because there is a purpose. You're not just here, we're not just here just because. You know what I'm saying? We all have a purpose. And imagine if we all lined up and were aware of our purpose. My God,
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm willing, man. I'm willing and able to stop, look, and listen and do what I can to make things right. And when you're looking at, everybody may think that, like I said, because everybody has their own ideas and that's fine too. You know what I'm saying? Let's even come together in that, and looking at our differences. And at the end of the day, what's going to, cause peace and harmony. And
I think you just said it, just listening. Do you feel like your generation is willing to listen to the younger generation?
I think so. I think a lot of times, because my generation is so different, we I said yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am to my mother until the day she passed away, not because of any reason, but because I loved and honored and respected her. And it was just what we did, you know what I'm saying? And just what I did. There were things that I didn't say to my mother because I respected her, because you know what I'm saying? I didn't, nah, I'm not going to tell my mother that or whatever. Some of us in my generation are afraid of the young people, and you can't walk in fear. But this generation here, they're just disrespectful. They don't honor the wisdom. And like I said, when you're living like that, this is why they're dying so young. This is why so many things, because things are not in order. There's no order. It's just all over the place. It's so chaotic. So I think that some of us, a lot of us actually, are willing to listen, and then some are not. And man, shame on them. I think that this generation has failed in a lot of ways. And then that next generation down, they want to even kill with their children. And that's crazy, because then who does your children have to look up to? For an example, if you're doing the same and in the same spaces that they are and doing the same things that they are, then where do they get that from? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
where do they go next? They don't have that guide.
All right. So now they're looking at
social media
to guide them.
And I think that's, not to point fingers and nothing, but I think that's something with our generation, is that we weren't necessarily led in that way. You live by what you see, and we were getting locked up. We had the crack epidemic. We had all these things going on in our community where fathers and our mothers weren't necessarily in their best selves, and you had to find other examples to find your best self. And in that search, that ultimately corporations got a hold of and gave us social media, and drove that whole thing up with this. But I think a lot of people, younger people, are on social media to find that guy, to find that mentorship, which is literally right in their own backyard. They just too consumed in the phone to see that.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like we have to lead by example. And still, even if we feel like nobody's listening or no one's watching, we still have to be our authentic selves, right? And still control the narrative in terms of we're not bitches and hoes and thoughts and, you know what I'm saying? That's just my thing. I don't know. Yeah, it's just, I just don't believe that we have to succumb to that which we're seeing in the narratives that are being portrayed in the media and that which we've adapted in our communities. And like I said, it's this thing now. It's a fad. It's cute to be calling each other names and carrying on. And anything that you call that thing long enough, it becomes that, because now I think that I'm that. So if you are a chicken and you hanging around, I don't know, a kitten, and that's all you know what I'm saying, you begin to, that chicken begins to act like a cat, right?
Yeah. Not your authentic self.
Right. And then you struggling because it's like, dang, well, but this is what it is. So you just go with the flow. And you become what's being said. You become those narratives. You become that story instead of writing your own story. I liken it to writing everything in pen. You know, back in the day, we had pencils where we could erase some stuff. And, you know, so the old is not all bad. You know what I'm saying? We had pencils, number 2 pencils, where we could just erase some stuff.
Can't do that with social media.
You can't do that with social media, absolutely. And once it's out there, it's out there. And, you know, it's just so crazy. The whistleblower about Facebook, she was so ridiculed, but she said something that was so profound, that they money over lives, right? Money over content. They know, because they specifically did that for that reason, you know, to have these young people so engaged. But like I said, it's not only young people, it's young people because that's all they know. It's the older people too, because we've had to do that, you know what I'm saying, in order to just keep up. It's almost like, okay, well, we need to get on, you know, we need to know how to use a computer. We need to know how to do this so that we can even just stay up to speed with things. But it's a multi-billion-dollar business, and unfortunately, it is crushing our youth.
Yeah, it really is.
It's crushing our youth. I mean, but there's good things. There's good things. I think that there's a lot of good things, because I'm able to now do a podcast, right, to speak to those things. So it's not all bad, like I said, but there needs to be a balance. There's a yin and a yang, right?
That's what we're doing here.
Right.
Trying to reset that balance.
Yeah, just set the balance, get balance, so that we can use social media platforms responsibly, where it's not taken away from our family time. It's not taken away, not causing depression, and you liked me instead of sending me a heart, and you didn't send me a heart at all. I'm useless. Man. So there's definitely work to be done, and it starts at home. If folks are willing to take a look at it, we're willing to take a look at it with them. And we need to do that, not pointing fingers, but just saying, okay, I'm here. Let's do this. Let's listen. Let's get some resolve.
Yeah, being present. Being. We are human beings. We forget about that being part.
Wow. And then there's that. I'm going to talk about that on another show. Human beings. Wow. And the meaning of hue. Wow. Yeah, we'll get into that another time. But listen, listeners, if you have any questions, if you have any concerns, anything, I want you to just tune in. I want you to share. I want you to listen with an open mind. Write down some questions. Call in and say, hey, I have something to say. I want to, address this, that, or the other issue, we'll be putting out some numbers so that you guys can call in until we get live, till we go live, where you can just call in right then and there. We got to start somewhere, and the Bible tells us to not despise small beginnings. And so I'm just looking forward to where we're going to be going with this. This is going to be incredible. An incredible platform, an incredible time to just be doing what we're doing because we're coming in love. Our intents are to make our communities better, to get ourselves together. And so I know that it's going to be powerful. I know that it's going to be big because of our intents. And like I said, the intents of our hearts are right. Just loving and caring one for another. And again, creating a space that's safe for us to see, feel, and think what we see, feel, and think without judgment. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to talking with you guys on our next session. If you guys have anything that you'd like us to talk about or you'd like to be a part of the conversation, please click, tag, share, and let us know because it's about you. It's about me. And yes, it's about us.
It's about you. It's about me. It's about us. Let's live our lives.
Yo, it's Julius, and I just made traveling easier with the motorized scooter suitcase. Let me say it again. Motorized scooter suitcase. Yeah, that's right. The luggage has got a built-in electric motor. So the suitcase, I can ride it and glide through the airport or the train station, through downtown, and it all fits in the overhead storage bin. No more crowded terminals trying to say, excuse me, y'all gonna see me gliding through there. I can hop in and off the light rail like it's no problem. I'm not struggling to carry these heavy-ass bags of podcast equipment anymore. All you gotta do is just click the link in the episode description that says Smart Suitcase. Click Smart Suitcase and see what I'm talking about. I'm telling y'all, it's going to change the way, if you're traveling, this is going to change everything. Click the link. Let's go.